Hi, welcome along to today's vlog. It's great to be back in the studio. I like travelling, but there's nothing like coming home. Although coming home on Monday night was not a lot of fun. The flight was delayed by an hour, had all that fun, and then we had some rather, the nasty people were back out again on YouTube yesterday. But do you know what? I watched that new John Lewis advert this morning. If you haven't watched it yet, go and watch it. I'll link to it below, but there's a little bit in it. I'll try and see if I can include the clip. But not only is your song the song we had at our wedding for us to have danced to for our first dance, but that bit where the little, and I know why they've done it, it pulls at the heartstrings a little bit, doesn't it? But that bit where the little Elton John gets the piano for his Christmas present. Just remember, if you play an instrument, I know a lot of you do, remember how it felt when you first made a sound on an instrument. It's a joyous experience, and don't let anybody take that joy away from you. Don't let anybody steal that from you. Don't let anybody ever steal that childlike wonder, because maybe you were a child, maybe you weren't a child, maybe you were an adult when you first played an instrument, but don't let anybody steal that. I felt really things were stolen from me yesterday, and I let something get under my skin. I don't now if I'm kind of fine, but watching that just made me remind yourself why you first started playing. We just all want to make music, don't we? In today's vlog, I want to briefly talk about some exercises that you can do on the mouthpiece only. Now, I first heard about doing mouthpiece only exercises, gosh, it must be coming up to nearly 20 years ago, when I was at the Southport Jazz Festival. I played a few gigs there, and Courtney Pine was on, and I managed to meet Courtney backstage, and I was asking him, bombarding him with questions about what to play and, kind of exercises to practice. And this was one of the exercises he gave me back then. I've got to say, it's not one I've really done religiously since then. I've sort of gone in and out of it as I've felt called to do it, but it actually is a really, really good exercise to do. The first one is to just get a consistent pitch from the mouthpiece. Now, on a tenor mouthpiece, you're aiming to get concert G. On an alto mouthpiece, you're aiming to get an A, and if I remember correctly, on a soprano mouthpiece, you're aiming to get concert C. I stand to be corrected, but I'm pretty certain that's what it is. If it's any different, I will outline them in here. If you see no text, then I'm pretty confident that I was right the first time round. I know it's definitely a G on tenor, because that's what I'm aiming for myself. So, okay, so that's C, okay. Okay, again. That little bit at the end is just my lip going up. Shouldn't really do that. I need to practice that to eliminate that out. It shouldn't be that nice to listen to. In fact, if you haven't heard me say it before, there is definitely Forshaw's first rule of practice, which is that anything that sounds terrible to people within earshot is often some of the best things you can practice. And this is not something that the neighbours really enjoy hearing, but it's definitely something that you can work on. You can always get yourself a mouthpiece silencer if you're not sure. Check out my review of one there. But ideally without the silencer, because you really want to be able to hear it. So once you've got a consistent pitch, the next thing to be able to do is to be able to bend that pitch, to be able to glissando around it. So you're looking at something like this. Now that's nearly an octave, not quite an octave. The top note isn't quite kind of pitching. It's going from a concert B flat all the way to an octave above. So if I can then play a scale through it, I'm really getting on the way to being able to control what I'm doing with my embouchure. Now, normally go back to the G, fall down to the B flat and try and play through a scale. Thinking in my head as I go through do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, da. I find it's brilliant for forcing people, and students particularly, to use their diaphragm when they're breathing. All about the air support, supporting that air column through, because if you haven't got good air support, this exercise just fails. Then finally, you want to see if you can get simple melodies. I said this when people are beginners with playing the instrument. Can you get something like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star out of the instrument? It's not easy. It sounds pretty dreadful, but you're gaining so much control and you're having to use the diaphragm the whole time. It really does help you with your saxophone playing. Speaking of which, I need to get some practice done. I am going to gig tonight, and then I am out tomorrow night in Peterborough, if you're local to Cambridge area, and then next Friday I am at Pizza Express in Birmingham. There are still some tickets available. Please do get hold of them. It'll be great to see some of you at those gigs. I mentioned a long time ago about how important I find my whiteboards. The problem is, Katie made me stick it out of the way when we moved in here. She said, it's very untidy and you can't really see anything. And so therefore I don't see it as often as I should do. But one of the things I'm going to look at, and I'm going to start right now, is something called a visualization board. Because I am someone who, when I can see the goal, it helps me do it a lot more. So I'm not going to show them here because they're quite personal. One of them is to increase my subscribers on YouTube, and that will be on there. And the idea is to stick pictures of what the goal would look like if you can doctor them to make it look like that, and then plan underneath how are you going to achieve that goal. What will achieving that goal mean, and kind of what happens after you've achieved that goal. I'll share one of them with you. This is my YouTube subscriber page. This is what it looks like when you go on my website, on my YouTube page, sorry. And I currently have nearly 7,500 subscribers. I've put a tag down there for 500,000. I'd like 500,000 subs. It's a lot of subscribers. It's a lot of work, but I need to outline how I'm going to do that. It will make things a lot better for you guys, but how am I going to make that target achieve is what I'm going to stick on this whiteboard. And maybe you could do that. Maybe it could be a particular concert venue you want to play. Stick that in a book or stick it on a board. Maybe it's a saxophone you want to own. Maybe it's a holiday you want to go on. Maybe it's a place you want to visit. Stick that on the board. How are you going to do it? Because remember that Denzel Washington thing, that dreams without goals always lead to frustration. So, now to make it happen, one of the ways that can happen is if you don't already, you hit that subscribe button, because that every one will add towards my total. I'll let you in another one. My other one was to get one of these. Taking Charlie to his piano lesson. Sadly, we're stuck in the A14 traffic. It's going to take us 10 minutes to travel 1.5 miles. I'm sure we're better off walking, but such is the joy of the A14 at Cambridge. So I'm at Saffron Hall now, just sorting out some jokes to sort through the gig, get through everything else that's sorted. It seems our caterers have decided to resign today, but like most of the British cabinet. But I'm really looking forward to tonight. So that's the end of today. Lighting's really bad, I keep forgetting to finish the video off properly, but thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to check the previous vlogs, and I will see you really, really soon. Bye-bye.